But regardless, that's enough caster talk. I'm sure everyone was begging us to get into game, and it looks like we're in game. So, we got what we wanted overall. Let's look at the heroes. Checking out the players from Team China first. Looks like it's going to be Silas going on for La La La. It's going to be Lich King for PF. What else have we got here, Lorinda?
Just on the bottom right. Oof. That's nice if the tokens are in. We haven't got the banned classes in a language I can understand, sadly, yet, but we'll get those in a moment because you get the pictures in a minute. And Crag, oh my goodness. So what's Dog got? He's got Greybow, there's a Cookie, there's a George, and there's a Sneed. Advantage to the Americas at the start here.
I will say Hooktusk feels like a bit of a terror, and
it is, yeah.
This might be unfair to say because I may be wrong, but Island Cat's performance on Pirates earlier on in this matchup was very impressive and looked very, very confident indeed. And I feel like, although not quite an APM requirement, but in terms of depth of play, like Hooktusk looks like a dangerous hero for Island Cat to have.
I agree. And again, the Team China players were picked on merit based on their team championship this year. Whereas the other teams are invited. And even though this America's team is incredibly strong, again, you've got theoretically the best 4 players in China. It never quite works like that, obviously,
right,
with final standings. But we must not underestimate these players just because we don't know much about them. China are probably the strongest team, even though this America's team is super, super strong.
Yeah, just to keep the old man up to date, we have no elementals, no beasts, and no murlocs in this. So no elementals once again. I feel like we're cursed today. All the elementals are cursed.
Out of 6.
Yeah, but no beasts, no murlocs means that there's still plenty of powerful things to do, right? We won't be seeing any of those huge murlocs again like we saw in the last lobby, but those mechs are still knocking around, as well as demons and dragons as well. So still plenty of big chunky minions available if these players can get to them.
Yeah, I feel a bit like I've gone back in time, actually, because we've seen Pirates win and we've seen Murlocs win. None of this newfangled stuff that the kids play today. Just good old-fashioned hit them with the obvious things.
And how does the no token option, or like outcome, I guess, affect these early turns? Because so often we talk about, you're looking for a token, Well, there aren't any available with no Murlocs and no beasts. So are we going to see more like levels on 4? On 4 gold, sorry, or can you still just play on 1 and just play a bit differently?
You do see a lot of people. In general, now it's almost wrong to level on 4 a lot of the time, anyway. So we will see people staying much lower than maybe a lot of people would expect. The standard curve, as it's called, where you level on 4 and level on 7, is sort of long go. You see here, Island Cat's going to have a tough time with his Hooktusk. I'm really interested to see how he plays this in a lobby with little tokens about. It's still a very good hero, but I've asked questions in our chats before, can I dodge Hooktusk now? Do I have to play Hooktusk now because there's no tokens? And yeah, absolutely, you can avoid it, but he still wants to have a go anyway.
Yeah, it's one of those additional stages of learning for Battlegrounds where obviously the top players have got this nailed down, but initially it's, I'm picking a hero based on how powerful I think the hero is, and I think a lot of players at lower levels don't match that up to what's actually in the lobby available as well, right? Because those power levels can alter depending on what's in the lobby. So it's interesting to just see the Hooktusk still picked up, even though no tokens are available. Dog going to be able to.
I hit 8k, I was still arguing that it just didn't matter what was in the lobby. And then I sort of woke up a couple of days later.
I don't believe it.
I was making the case that I didn't think that what was in the lobby was that important. Then I suddenly realised, hang on, all these people are shouting at me for being an idiot. Perhaps just on this one occasion, they're right. And they were.
It's one thing that I do enjoy a lot about just you as a person, Lorinda, is some of your arguments are so silly, it borders on crazy, I'll be honest, but some of them are very good. So the problem you have there as a friend of Lorinda is if some of his arguments are very good and some of them are extremely stupid, well, you have to listen to them all because they might be good and it might be worthwhile, but you also just get a lot of stupid stuff.
And then I just cast with TJ for a year and that was the end of all the smart comments. And now you're fine, you can just throw them all away.
And now I can just mute you.
I mute myself sometimes, it's fine.
Well, La 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 does have a reasonable opening here with at least just a solid aggressive opening. It might not be building him to anything fantastic yet, but he's got some gold in the bank already, and also just has 2 3-5s, which at this point in the game feels very competitive.
It's funny how you see a lot less of Silas these days because of Gale Wing and Cookie. They're just, for me at least, just better versions of the same hero.
Right.
So if you get those off with Silas, you just never take him.
Is that 2 triples? It is, right? Yeah, okay. I just couldn't quite remember whether he had the other dragon on board. I knew he had one, but that's a pretty solid there for Island Cat.
I wonder when you play what you take with that particular exact triple here. Because obviously it gets so much more extra attack when you level if you play it earlier, but you get a worse card from your triple.
Right. Interesting as well, like going for the two 3s as opposed to trying to wait for some kind of level up.
Well again, because he gets triple when it attacks. When he levels to 3, it's going to be a 21-8. Then it's going to be a 21-63. So he's decided that I don't care about the drop quite so much. And also, dragons on 3. There's Taragoza. There's mechs in, so you could get yourself a deflector. It's not like the worst level to 3 in history.
And I guess it's also a symptom of what's available, right? Because, for example, guess what? Elementals are out, so there's none of that to go for. There's not some of the beasts to hit as well. So, yeah, this is looking very, very powerful for Island Cat so far. It's just how he converts from this as well. So 100% win by the looks of things against George. Dog, on the other hand, is on the other side of that kind of coin with a small chance at getting a victory here. Pretty grim, honestly.
Shouldn't take much damage though. He's okay.
Oh, really good drop from the Sneeds though, getting that the dragon.
Yep, I take it back. He takes some damage. Still not a huge amount though, to be fair. Who are we going to now? Tao. And is this his Crag? I think next turn's the Crag turn, right? Because he gets it just works out you can level and have a full turn. I think it's next turn. You press you level, you press the button, and then you basically have a full turn of 4 drops. So I think that's what he's going for here.
Yeah, and that's the way you generally use that character, right? Like, you just use it to get a free tavern level and still have a regular turn, because the gold just refills, so... You can see him going on there. The 2 N'Zoth, as well as all those Divine Shields, looking pretty good. Checking in with WTY Bill on the left. Does have George and only 1 Divine Shield here, so it looks like he's been more focusing on just getting decent minions.
Yes.
Going for those tavern levels as well, and he's going to work on the Divine Shields a little bit later. And I think that's just due to the minions he has, or has maybe been offered, have not been minions you foresee yourself keeping in the long game. He's maybe done just enough to sort of leverage the Divine Shield on the 2/2 there that we can see, and that's just enough to be keeping him alive and at a healthy total.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to read George boards. Quite often it's a good sign if you've got no Divine Shields, because there's been things you want to buy. You tend to Divine Shield early, like you said, if there's something worth Divine Shielding, but also if you've got 2 gold hanging around because the shop was garbage. So it's not necessarily a bad sign. He has got the Avenge setup, but no Avengers at this point. So he's going to struggle to get to the end game unless he finds something soon. Slysssa also struggling a bit, but again, no real harm done. But slowly but surely, it feels like the Americas team are all taking damage. And none of them seem to have an amazing board, unless Collins has managed to put them together.
Everyone feeling fairly even now. You can see, although Tao is on 23, I believe he is just about to have his turn, his Crag turn, which, again, it's one of those heroes that you can't really judge them by the current health total at this point in the game, because they've basically not had a hero power until now, so we'll have to see if he can recover with that with a bit of a gold boost.
Dog wanted to roll, sell a pirate and buy a minion, and the minion that was worth buying was another pirate because it's a triple. So that was quite amusing. But Dog has now got the makings of a very good comp. It's not there just yet, but he's going to have a lot of gold available next turn. He's on 4. He's already got the bare bones with some Divine Shields and a Gem Splitter. That could develop very rapidly into a very strong board. WTY Bill slowly sort of cobbling things together, and it is only turn 7. It feels with these players like it's a lot later than that because they quite often have crazy boards already by this time. That's like a sort of turn 7 board I'll have on a good game.
That's it, isn't it? Because like Island Cat's board looks fine because he has 2 very hard-hitting minions. You know, some Divine Shields, some Taunt. He's going to get some gems as well from the Divine Shields. But it's not mind-blowing, is it? It doesn't look like a comp, really, yet. But he is not too far away from making that true because he does have that Deflecto frozen. He could pick up the pair if he's really after that as well, but we'll see. Yeah. But I just mean, like, none of these comps are really looking massively impressive quite yet to me.
Yeah, Island Cat's got the problem that he needs to get to 4. He's got some very good cards, he's got it all set up, but would like to go up there and start picking up some of those heavy hitters.
And he lost a gem as well that turn because of the order of attacks. That's a little bit unfortunate.
Oh, I see. Hang on, he's staying at 3 possibly to try to hit. No, ignore me. Just carry on without me. He's trying to get to 4 to hit the gem splitter. I'm going absolutely out of it. So he will need to go to 4 next turn. He'll take that second deflector and hope it's enough to keep him going for a while.
Tata just went into that Divine Shield. These deflector bots are getting work done. There's the sneeze getting work done, and that is a whole extra lot of damage there. 13 on the Crag, and obviously we can see that Tao has now used the hero power, so he's had his big turn, so to speak, and he needs to hold on now because he's getting dangerously low on health. He's
picked up a gem. A ground shaker though, so he's able to stay alive for some time with that gem splitter ground shaker combo. That will allow him to, do chunky damage to the opposition in the meantime. And he is looking at has he got the time to go for the triple? He turns it down and instantly rolls another one. Story of my life as well. Okay, that's a nice looking comp now. If you can just survive probably one more turn, which is the story of everybody's life in this game.
Yeah.
Just one more turn. Bob,
just one more turn and maybe get a couple more Divine Shields and things start to look very nice indeed. Lala, 1 ticket away from a good time as well.
There's a tank in Bill's shop. That's a good thing to have hanging around in the shop. But this isn't a comp you really want as George. You really want to be doing what his teammate's doing. Sorry, what his opponent is doing with the whole Island Cat gem splitter thing going on here.
Yeah. Okay, down into the fights. And both opponents on these 2 screens, dangerously low health, likely to die to any single loss. Both players on the bottom on 18, so, reasonably unlikely to die on a single hit. So, definitely favored for the 2 players we're focusing on right now. And not so favored in the actual numbers, though, for Island Cat. Because I think that is Dog on Greybow, isn't it? So I think Dog's really piecing this together, right? Has enough death rattles that are going to get buffed because of Greybow's hero power. Still then has the Kangors to generate even more minions. But didn't die with that hit.
Yeah, La took a lot, took sort of some damage there, but didn't die, and he did get a whole lot of cards to spend next turn, so he's still with a fine chance there.
Yeah, minimal damage for Island Cat. If he was ever going to lose, then he only wanted to take 5, and that's what ends up happening. Slysssa in the meantime, it's kind of funny, this lobby, right? This lobby, because of the minion types that aren't there, does feel like it's a very tokeny, shooty based lobby, right? Yep. Whether it's tanks, whether it's the demons that you can see here from Slysssa, like, it does feel like that's just the way to go. And many of the players are kind of scrambling for these minions themselves. Slysssa has gotten hold of a golden tank though, which is definitely nothing to be upset about.
And the standings on the left-hand side was basically alternating pretty much all the way down, like America's China. Remember, there's only 2 points in it, so like we were describing at the start of this, every single placement's critical here. And there's a lot of people on very low health.
I think Collins is looking dangerous as well, right? Not only has he got plenty of health, But he has this Ground Shaker and a ton of gems now, and 4 Divine Shield minions looking good. He gets this Mech Warp, the Leaper down, sorry. Oh, Mech Warper, that's a throwback, isn't it? And with the Ground Shaker, he can start dunking these gems on whenever he feels he needs them. But again, I think because this is the last lobby, this is basically worth 2 total tournament points for whichever team wins. I think you throw the gems on now and be safe as many turns as possible.
Yeah, you look to dump them all repeatedly. You made the point earlier, he's not there yet. You can't hold more than 10 things anyway, so
right.
Emptying some is always a priority. And you look for the Necrolite, and then you can transfer those gems across to one of your Divine Shields and do it all again. Is a thing you can do. I'm interested to see what he ends up selling. It might be the pup. He's got quite a tough decision, I think, unless I misread his board, as to actually what to get rid of next turn to make space to sell through. A very important fight on the left-hand side. That is Dog versus La La La. Dog at the top. And the loser of this one will be coming probably in 8th place in this very tight match. It does look like America's just starting to creep to the top of that leaderboard. That doesn't mean much, of course, in this game. But what does mean a lot is La 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 top 18. That's only picking up 1 point. So America's are still a point ahead, and they've got an extra player in the game.
Yeah, big deal there. First one being out. That does mean that the Team China are going to have to pull something out of the bag now, though, because if even one more player goes out, the requirements of the remaining 2 start becoming more and more difficult, right? Especially we can already see Collins is looking great on Sneeds all the way at the top there. The current top 3 are the Americas, the rest are the China team at 6th and 7th. That's looking rough.
The curse of Raven.
I know, I said it just as everything updated. Top 2 Americas with Island Cat 3rd on, for Team China. Dog, W2Y Bill, Tao Tao, and then PF.
PF against the Ghost, so he does get a turn to just tidy things up, and he is ready to go. He's in the go position for next turn with that double hogger. If he does it as cleanly as Island Cat earlier, which was different because Island Cat had infinite hoggers, it will be a good looking board at the end of the next turn.
I think you saw a very interesting decision there from Tao Tao. He froze, and he could have just waited to maybe have a slightly smoother turn next turn with everything he had in hand. But again, he's on 5 health. If he dies here, that's a huge problem for the team effort. So he decided to sell, get the actual minion, then push all the gems in with Ground Shaker, of course, and basically just be as strong as he can possibly be this turn. But it looks like honestly, it might not be strong enough.
A way you kind of have to play a lot these days is push your luck until you're nearly dead, and then just keep going all in and hope it goes away.
So now Tao Tao really needs the reset, but the tank shot one of the deflectos. And I think that might be a problem.
I want to agree with you, yes. I couldn't quite see the health, yes. I absolutely agree with you now.
I think if double Deflecto lived for a little bit longer, that was where the 16% that you can see sort of circled round, right? I think the Deflecto's living, of course, is often the way you can sneak wins, but it just wasn't meant to be. Oh, look, more tanks! Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah, and that's Dog putting WTY Bill out again. Just another reminder, they don't know who each other are, so a bad result there, but also Tao Tao going out, or whoever it was that went out.
Yeah, I'm just going to wait till it updates.
There you go.
Okay, so who's that? Crag's gone, so Tao Tao is out. George is gone, so WTY Bill is out. The update will just change on the left for you in a few seconds, I imagine. But still, America's still ahead, right? America's have effectively lost 1 player, and Team China have lost 2 right now. So even though W2Y Bill got knocked out, still looking quite good going forward. But remember, going into this lobby, there wasn't that much in it. So until it's over, I don't think it's over.
I would agree with those words, because they are absolutely true. PF didn't really get a pop-off turn, but he has transformed into this cobbled together old school piratey looking comp with a Tony hanging about with double Scally. So there's a chance that that turns into an amazing comp next turn, depending if the Tony hits one of the hoggers, for instance, or even an Eliza, it might be enough.
This is one of the things I meant earlier as well. Look at these two comps side by side, and you can argue, of course, Collins is way stronger than the other one, but Dog's still in the game, and this comp, in terms of just looking at stats, looks terrible. But then you start to see it work with the death rattles, then they get buffed, of course, because of the Grey Bow's hero power. The tanks are constantly popping shots across the board as well, so it is just like deceptively strong and not a straightforward looking comp, but it seems to be doing okay for Dog. But it looks like this one is a bit of a 50-50 going on here, Lorinda.
Yeah, looking at those percentages at the top, it's how it's felt as well from the start of the fight. Before I looked up at the top there, they're just keeping pace with each other as the game goes on. Tony hasn't hit the right things on the buffs here at the moment. On the Goldens. Don't think he hit a Hogger or an Eliza.
Oh, that buff's actually...
Go left.
Oh! It's going to be Dog.
Wow.
Knocked out that round. That was very unfortunate with the way the buffs landed, where the attacks went. Even the mech dinosaur wasn't good enough to be able to at least just take out additional minion, try and get those value trades. So that does mean Dog is done for this lobby and done for the day. But his team can still pull them through.
That puts them 4 points ahead because Bill gained a point on La 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 and Dog gained a point on Tao Tao. So
yeah,
they're 4 points clear, which isn't enough if they don't do well with these two last players, with Slysssa and Collins. Both looking pretty solid. I mean, Collins has looked solid since about turn 7 or 8.
It might have been turn 2. Or maybe even turn 1 because he picked Sneed. So
sure.
it could just be that as well. But yeah, Collins not only looking strong on board, but also his health total, right? He doesn't particularly need to fade. One of those, you feel like you're very, very strong, but you just take a sort of freak loss out of nowhere and you might die. He doesn't need to fade that, right? He has tons of health. He's almost certainly not going to get one shot. So even though he might lose one sort of fight out of nowhere, he has like a whole extra turn to recover anyway.
These strong arms are buffing for 18.
Oh. That seems quite a lot.
That's a lot of buffing, and if he can survive with those buffs, there's a good chance that Tony will now buff the... Oh, he sold the other Hogger. Don't worry about me.
Yeah, still looking like Collins has done enough, though, at least with the numbers. Obviously, things can happen. Collins just looking so strong. Slysssa currently fighting Island Cat, I believe.
Yeah,
if my memory's not going, and looking strong as well. It looks like the two Americas players left are doing enough to make this work.
Yeah, that phobic was quite important. It didn't just sort of jump into the Wrath Reaver there, but I think she's okay here.
Also, the timing of these fights is important as well, because each player is facing one from the enemy team, and the two China players are on low enough health to be just killed if they lose. And you see Slysssa wins this fight, and it's still looking reasonably likely that that Collins is going to win this one as well, right? This Deflecto should be able to do enough, right?
I always ignore the percentages, but it just looks like Collins is doing enough here, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just stared at the Deflecto, saw it still had Divine Shield, and was like, those numbers add up.
And that's it. The two Americas players put out the two China remaining players. So they are going to not only win the lobby, but they're going to win the 2 points available for this first section of this Americas versus China match. And after that first lobby, who would have predicted they'd win it by this much? It's going to be quite a big victory.
Yeah, it should be very, very happy with how they've played so far. Of course, both players are going to continue playing. They don't know the other person is a teammate, but most importantly, each one will want to say they won a lobby. It's just something these players will be after, right? Because, yeah, your team won, and that is the main goal. That is fantastic. But you want to say at the end of the day, yeah, it's been a long day for everyone, but I won one of the lobbies, or you placed wherever in the lobbies, because players keep track of all these scores, right? It's a very natural thing to do in Battlegrounds, is keep track of overall performance, because it's so straightforward. It's what place did you finish? Done.
Exactly.
It's a number, done.
What's amusing me here is just how important this is to Slysssa and Collins. They don't know they've won. They know they went into this lobby needing a first place because they're only 2 points ahead. And they're both deep, deep in the tank here. It's quite entertaining, actually. Not just the bragging rights, but the actual, this could be the difference. They know how close it could be. Slysssa has got the Omega build, but not a particularly good backup line behind it. Collins being greedy with his gems.
Collins, 10%? Always a bit ropey with Sneeds as well, because obviously the hero powers can dramatically change the outcome of any given fight. So we'll see after that pans out. But I honestly just didn't even expect this much of a percentage coming out from Slysssa, just based on, you know, as if the minions were just flat on board as they are.
But he has held a little bit back because he's on 36, because his head's up. I think he just decided to have a look what he's up against before committing all these gems. Unless I missed them all getting generated at the start, but I don't think I did.
No, I don't think he did. I think he did keep hold of them.
So he knows he can take this hit, see what he's up against, put the gems in the right place, and have a much better second go. But it's probably over if he wins the fight.
Ah, that might be where the numbers come from, actually. So he only had, like, what, 2? Maybe 3 death rattles there from the Sneeds, so he's clearly made a fairly fresh board and not felt the need to dump tons of hero powers into it.
Yeah, now we're going to see his real plan, because now he has to win the next fight.
Yeah, he was just powering up last turn.
Mm-hmm. Right, Slysssa finding a Baron. Pretty big deal, because the mecha will... Yeah.
Okay. What do you think Collins is looking for this turn? How is he really going to improve this? Is there a minion that would replace Selfless, or would the dream just be getting a triple?
I mean, his own Omega maybe, but maybe that's too slow at this point. Obviously, always the Selfless is always on the mind, but they're not particularly easy to position against Slyssa's comp. So yeah, triple would be what he's after.
Yeah, it's not too bad as well. It's just another Divine Shield minion that's going to get buffed up a lot. So you're expecting the 2 attacks here to come out from the equivalent.
Yeah, and look how that played back, going back a turn. He saved those gems knowing that, you know, he wasn't quite sure where he was. He wanted to make sure he knew what he was up against. And by saving those, he's now got a 16-18 Wind Fury Divine Shield for the next fight. It might not be enough, but he's got a lot of extra stuff going on just by holding back that turn. Of course, he's got a lot less health by doing that, but that wasn't the point. It was all about finding out, how do I win the next fight. It's the Baron. Collins gives a bit of a nod. That's obviously part of the way he hits his 22% that he's looking for.
Right. This is interesting, isn't it? The lack of built-up hero powers from Collins, because he's clearly, you know, made that recent board. It looks like it might be proving a bit of a problem here. That's a lot of additional minions, but in the face of what's actually going to be generated again, and the fact that somehow this tank is still alive, is
Yes.
kind of bad. Oh,
right.
Okay, that tank snipe was huge.
Just won't die. It's just the...
There we go. It's still not enough, right?
It's
This
not
is
enough.
Still a loss as far as I can see.
But he's not going to die. So we get to do it all again. See if Collins can find anything to improve. Thing is, these shields aren't doing much for him because the tank is sniping them down, so he needs some numbers from somewhere.
And look at this, just Collins just need to just go for a zap here. Is that
He's
all?
found what he was looking for in the Necrolite. I mentioned this a few turns ago, that he can now stick all that damage onto the thing. As to the zap, I think he'd take it if he saw it. That's for sure. Is it the be-all and end-all? Maybe not. Because he's got his own tank that he doesn't want to sell, and he's not going to sell because he needs that to do some sniping for him as well.
Yeah, these are the really hard parts of the game, aren't they? When you have to try and dissect your opponent's lineup, and a lot of the time, because it's not guaranteed that you're going to get the exact thing you need to work out what's a plan B or a plan C or a plan D kind of option that you could maybe play around with.
And I think Collins is down to about C right now. Is there anything worth stealing? I mean, the Omega's okay. He has got a board slot available, so he's going to try and hit something from Slyssa's board. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than what he's been through this turn, right? So it's a decent outcome, although not the best. Only getting a few blood gems there to add on to this ground shaker. Slysssa, I think, did pick up the ghoul as well to just kind of delete these shields as quickly as possible.
I think he missed a hero power there, but I might be wrong.
He must have, right? It would be turned, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he must have missed it, because I think the
had a
hero
gold
power
left
would be
as well.
blank.
So perhaps he timed out. You do get some lag when playing from Americas into China sometimes.
Okay, one of the death rattles into a token generator is what you're looking for. That hit wasn't that bad because it means there's space for the minions from the demon. The tanks won't snipe the tanks. It's kind of hilarious.
This tank's absurd. Like you say, Collins isn't doing bad either. They're like stormtroopers, they just can't shoot straight at all.
Oh, there goes Collins's.
So now he has those few seconds before he knows whether he has lost to one of his teammates or whether he's lost to one of the players from China. And he's going to get the good news in just a second.
Yeah, really big win there. Congratulations, of course, to Slysssa for winning the lobby.
Yes.
But most importantly, congratulations for the Americas team taking on the Battlegrounds section. Great start to day number 1 for them.
This was pretty close. Americas looked better today, but we saw that really smooth play from Island Cat. We saw China get some pretty bad heroes. If they have to clash again, I would say it's too close to call.
What does that mean?
Size matters, so people can check out what size they are by typing the command size. See if they're chonkers or dinkers or average or growers or showers.